Good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. You know what? You gotta love Fraser Anning. This man has balls. He has balls. Okay, in the video that's attached, yeah, Australian politics can be crazy too. There's a video and I'll summarize what happens. Fraser Anning calls an interview because the coalition, which is the current government, have put his party last on the ticket, below the Communist Party, below the Labour Party, below the Greens, which are antithesis to the coalition. It's like a naughty boy, what are you doing here? We don't want you here. You know, it is so pathetic. So anyway, he raises this point, as you'll see, and that's the whole basis of the interview. And you'll hear the reporters there, they go totally off topic. You know how I sometimes go off topic. They go totally off topic. They take this opportunity to start hammering him because one of his alleged supporters allegedly had a run-in with a photographer. And I've seen the footage, and what happened was that this guy was apparently leaving the area that Anning had given his interview. Anning had already left, and long after the press interview was over, this guy was so sick and tired of this photographer and this reporter pursuing him that he grabbed the shirt of the photographer to try and stop him photographing him and tore it. Oh, my shirt got torn. Oh, I'm so sad. And that became the story in this interview you're going to see. Anning wasn't even there. The interview with Anning was over. He doesn't even know who this guy is who tore the shirt of this photographer who was pursuing him into the car park. It wasn't the other way around. The reporter and the photographer were pursuing him into the car park because he basically said that he was an Anning supporter. And that is what you call fake news. Okay? But that gives you a bit of background to the interview you're going to see now. Yeah, we have fake news in Australia too. The loony left, as Anning calls them, are just that. They're the loony left. They've lost the plot. They're full of BS. You'll notice there's not one question in this media interview directed as to the point that he raises at the start, which is about preferences. They are just so friggin' fake. All right, guys. Have a great day. Remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Fraser Anning is our hero in South Africa. He's the only guy who is supporting the idea of a special visa for white South Africans into Australia. I want you, all of you in South Africa, to contact your family and friends and get them behind Fraser Anning. Not just voting. If they can support by going to polling booths, if they can support by handing out how to vote tickets and things like that, that's how we're going to get whites out of South Africa. It's up to you guys. You've got to start doing this. You've got to make this video viral, and you've got to just tell everybody. Put it on Facebook, put it on Twitter, put it wherever you like. It doesn't worry me at all. All right, guys. Take care. Bye for now.
Thank you very much for coming. I've called this conference because I've just heard that Mr. Morrison has decided to preference my party last on pretty much all his tickets. Now I can't believe that the leader of what is supposedly a conservative party would preference a Christian conservative party, which is what I lead, behind the toxic mix of the Labour and the Greens. I espouse all the views of Robert Menzies, pretty much, being a Christian Conservative, and he's the leader of the party that Robert Menzies started, preferencing me last behind the Communist Socialist alliance of the Greens and the Labor Party. I'm not sure why he's done it. I know that I brought a bill into Parliament a couple of months ago that would have given the Australian people a say in who comes to this country, not just how many people, but who comes to this country. They were very upset about that. It's terrible when a government is very upset that the Australian people may have a say in how their country is run and who their neighbours are going to be. Now, the hypocrisy of the whole thing is I stand against Muslim immigration because I believe it's the greatest threat to Australia and to our way of life that we face right now. As we've seen in Sydney, Melbourne and even now in Brisbane, what's happening when you bring these people in, they do not integrate. They're a parallel society, and it's not good for our citizens, and a lot of people agree with me on that. So I've asked that we have a plebiscite so the Australian people can have a say in who comes here. The hypocrisy is also that Mr Morrison has said that the same thing, pretty much that I say, that it's a danger to us. Muslim immigration is a danger. And he's reinforced that by funding the AFP and the ASIO to the tune of $570 million. And by the way, they do a great job. They're finding these people before they commit these crimes. There's a lot of these terrorist acts that would have gone ahead, except that those people are doing such a great job. So I'm happy that they get more funding, but what it's saying to us is if you're going to keep on funding these people, the ASIO and the AFP, for more and more money, and they keep on bringing the same people in who are committing these crimes, we're either going to run out of money or we're going to run out of police officers. So he's also said that the people on Terror Watch has gone up 8-fold in the last 5 years. So he's admitting that we have a problem, and yet he doesn't want to let the Australian people have a say in whether we should bring more of them back into the country. He's also funding the Palestinian Authority, and he's also funding the Pakistanis who have suicide bombers who kill innocent Indians, and the Palestinian Authority who pay people and they go in and kill innocent Israelis. I'm dead against that, and I don't think the Australian dollars should be going to pay for that. So I'm just appalled that that's the way he stands, that he thinks that he'd rather a Green Labor alliance above a Christian Conservative party. So I'm happy to take any questions if you've got some.
What do you think about the reaction? What do you think about what happened today at Cronulla, where a man assaulted a photographer and intimidated a journalist?
Yeah, well, it was after I heard about it. I didn't see it. I'd left the area by that time. I've heard about it since. I don't know what the lead up to it was, so I can't really comment. He's
been charged by the police with assault and intimidation. Do you condemn his actions?
Absolutely, I condemn any violence. I've never advocated for any violence of any sort to anyone, and I'll continue to do that, and all my members would continue to do that. So what happens with other people, I can't really comment on. I'm afraid I wasn't there at the time.
This is the second time, though, at a Fraser Anning press conference where there has been a physical altercation.
Oh, you mean when I got attacked?
I also mean in this instance, and yes, at that press conference. Why does it seem to be continually happening at your press conferences?
Some people are crazy. I guess they want to attack people if they don't agree with their views. I can't speak for those people. As I said, I've never advocated for any violence at all.
This man was one of your supporters. Do you take any responsibility for what he's done here?
Well, one, I don't know if he's a supporter or not.
On his Facebook page, he has, and I quote, "I support Fraser Anning." Do you take any responsibility for his actions here?
Pretty hard to take responsibility for somebody's actions. People do silly things from all walks of life, and as I said, I don't advocate any violence. I definitely never promote any violence on my Facebook page.
He's allegedly followed a female journalist away from your press conference into a car park. Is this guy a coward? Is he essentially threatening someone for asking you questions for doing their job?
As I said, I wasn't there, so I don't know what went down or what led up to it, but I have no knowledge of those things, but as I say, I don't advocate for any.
If he's a member of your party, will you have him kicked out of the party?
If he's done something wrong, and I don't know what he's done and what led up to it, but certainly if he's attacked somebody without provocation, certainly I would.
Are you
What kind of
suggesting
provocation do you think would be acceptable for an assault of this matter?
Well, somebody who hits somebody, I guess, is if he was hit first, I guess he has the right to protect himself like anyone does. If he's just assaulted somebody, then obviously he wouldn't be welcome in my party.
Earlier today on Twitter, you said that you supported a ban on black immigration. Would that include the likes of Archbishop Desmond Tutu or Oprah Winfrey?
I don't remember doing that Twitter, but I've never had a white Australia policy. I have one of my Senate candidates is actually an Indian, and he calls himself black. I think he's just brown. But we don't have any colour chart in my office, and I've never had a white Australia policy, and I certainly wouldn't preclude anyone who comes to this country and assimilates and doesn't want to attack us. I'd love to have them here, and especially if they are not on the dole and they actually work for a living.
What would you say to people who are supporters of yourself and your party, who are heading to press conferences or events that you may be at with the intention of physically assaulting anyone else there or a journalist?
Certainly don't do it. I would never want any of my supporters to be assaulting anyone. If there are people like that, then look, there's crazy people in all walks of life, both conservative and left wing. And we've seen what Antifa does, and some of the loony left that come to our different media conferences, attacking people, attacking police, spitting on people. Most of the Conservatives don't do that. They're usually more conservative.
I can't tell of any other press conference during this election campaign, though, where there's been a physical assault like this.
I have. I've seen them. I have seen them on numerous occasions.
In this campaign?
Pardon?
In this campaign?
Well, in the one at wherever it was in Melbourne that time, there's about 500 lunatics with their banners on, their masks on, attacking police, and they needed 200 or 300 police to protect the decent citizens who are where I was, who were talking about the problem with the Sudanese gangs who are bashing people in Melbourne.
So this is a press conference. This isn't a public event. This is a press conference.
So your point is?
There's a differentiation there. This isn't a public event that people are being invited to. This is a press conference that is being held for the purposes of
nothing happened at my press conference. I was at a press conference. We finished the press conference. I left, and apparently there was an altercation. I didn't see it. I don't know what led up to it. But I condemn any violence against anyone.
Are you concerned this sort of person is one of your supporters?
Well, look, there's supporters for all sorts of parties that may have different views to mine. So the left-wing supporters are violent, much more violent than any of the supporters that I've seen in our party. But as I say, I condemn any violence anytime.
Senator, your Twitter account says, "My party will ban all Muslim and black immigration and ensure safety for Australians once more."
I
Do you
think
stand by those
I'd
comments?
say it'd be black Sudanese. The Sudanese are in gangs in Melbourne now, attacking people on a daily basis. Not very much reporting, by the way, from your left-wing media. But there are a lot of people who are being hurt badly by these people. Old people who are being robbed and bashed. Homes that are being broken into. I've met quite a lot of those people. This is a serious concern. I know that the media don't want to say who's doing all these things, but the fact is that black African gangs are doing a lot of damage in this country. We've had 8 attacks in Brisbane in the last 3 months. Did you report any of those? I'm sure you didn't. But the fact is that I have the police reports, and there's elderly people, there's knife attacks, and we need to talk about it. If we don't talk about it, we're just going to keep ignoring it until it's a problem like we have in Melbourne. We have white flight out of Sydney and Melbourne.
But there's a racial test though for immigration that you propose?
Absolutely, for those people, absolutely.
What do you mean, those people?
The Sudanese, the black Sudanese, they're black in colour and they're Sudanese, and they shouldn't be coming into this country because they don't fit in and they attack us and they go on the dole.
Do you accept that statement's racist to call out a specific race and say they're not welcome in this country?
Absolutely.
So it is racist?
That race, absolutely.
So you accept that you're being racist?
No, I don't accept that I'm racist. I'm being a pragmatist. I believe that we should be bringing people into this country who assimilate, and I don't care what colour they are, by the way, but those particular people do not assimilate. They live in their enclaves, they're a parallel society, and they attack us. Now, if you want your mother or your father or your uncle or your auntie attacked, and just because they haven't been so far, but most people change their opinion when it happens. Isn't that strange that we bring them in, we love you, but now as soon as they get attacked, all of a sudden it's a different thing. And we're seeing that in Victoria now, by the way, because they're going into the leafy suburbs that were always sacrosanct and no one was ever going to get attacked there. But these guys are going into those suburbs and attacking those people, and they're now getting worried about their life. But thank you very much for that. I really appreciate